Relative pollution is a fairly simple concept, but one that is really important when it comes to understanding how pollution can impact on the quality of swimming pool and spa water. What it refers to is not the total amount of pollution going into a body of water, but the amount of pollution going into a body of water relative to the amount of water that's there. And that's a key consideration, because different pools are going to have completely different levels of relative pollution, based mainly on the volume of water and the amount of people that they've got going into their pool. So for example, a typical 25-metre pool might hold something in the region of 350 cubic metres of water. So 350 metres cubed. If 35 people got into that pool, what you've got is each person with 10 metres cubed of water each for all of the pollution that they are introducing into that body of water to dilute within. So 10 cubic metres is quite a lot. So these 35 people, potentially, especially if they're not taking pre-swim showers, they're going to be introducing things like really horrible stuff like urine, dead skin, mucus, sweat, plus all of the other types of chemical pollution that they'll be bringing in, like hair gel, deodorants, makeup, cosmetics, even suntan lotion and things like that. This is all going to wash off of bathers into the pool. Same with biological pollution such as bacteria and things like that. That's all being washed off of bathers going into the swimming pool water. But it's not too bad because there's a lot of water there, and that has somewhat of a diluting effect. However, let's have a look at a pool on the other end of the spectrum. Say, for example, a spa pool. So a spa pool might only hold about 5 cubic metres of water. So you've got 5 metres cubed of water. Let's say 10 people squeeze themselves into this spa pool. Now what you've got is a completely different scenario where there's only 0.5 cubic metres of water per person, because there's only 5 cubic metres. 10 people getting in to a body of water that's got only 5 cubic metres of water, they're only going to have 0.5 cubic metres of water each. And they might also be bringing in the same levels of sweat, urine, bacteria, etc. Now let's assume that these groups of people, the pool people and the spa people, are sort of equally dirty. So all things being equal, obviously 35 people are going to be introducing far more total pollution than 10 people are going to be introducing. But that doesn't matter, that's irrelevant. The amount of total pollution is irrelevant. What matters is the amount of relative pollution, because as we can see, even though more total pollution is going into the pool, when you factor in the amount of water that's there, it's not half as bad. It's not even a tenth as bad as it is for the spa pool, where they've got 10 people going in. And so that's a really key consideration for pool operators to bear in mind, because when it comes to managing swimming pool and spa water and making sure that it's clean and it's safe and it's hygienic, it's obvious when you consider relative pollution that the smaller the pool gets, the more challenging it becomes to keep that water clean, safe, hygienic, etc. However, what I think is that I come across it a fair bit. There seems to be an attitude amongst smaller pool operators that they don't really have the challenge. That the challenges are faced by the larger pools because they've got big plant rooms, and these plant rooms can be quite daunting and intimidating because the filters are big and the pumps are big and they're making a hell of a noise, and the pipe work is big and everything just looks complicated and difficult to operate. And I think there's an attitude that it's those types of facilities that have got the problem and therefore need to get their staff trained and make sure they've got good procedures. I think what happens is that operators of smaller pools, like spa pools, sort of look at their plant room, and sometimes it's not even a plant room. It's more like like a cupboard. Sometimes it's not even that. It's just some enclosure, a little enclosure that's got a tiny little pump in there, tiny little filter, completely non-intimidating. And I think sometimes that almost lulls these operators of smaller pools into a bit of a false sense of security, because they think, well, we haven't got a big problem here. Look at our equipment. It's tiny. We don't really need to worry about getting our staff trained and having really robust procedures because we've got it easier somehow than the bigger pools. But in fact, nothing could be further from the truth. It's the smaller pools that have got the major challenges when it comes to keeping their pool water safe, clean and hygienic, purely because of a big factor is this relative pollution. Because let's face it, in badly run spa pools, it's going to be equivalent to, 0.5 meters cubed is not even a bathtub full of water. And what you've got to ask yourself is, if there were 9 people that used a bathtub of water, the same water, not changed between bathings, 9 people used it, washed themselves in it, etc. You're the 10th person. Now you've got to get into that bathtub water. You wouldn't consider it. You'd be able to completely appreciate the fact that that bath water would be absolutely disgusting. Yet, in badly run spa pools, when you look at this issue of relative pollution in a badly run spa pool, that's kind of what it's like. You're getting into water that you're probably assuming that it's clean, safe, and hygienic, but a lot of the times it isn't. So when you're getting into that water in a badly run spa pool, unfortunately, that's what it can be like. Probably even worse as well, because spa pools have got the ability, they do generate a lot of aerosol, and we'll cover this in depth in another video, but spa pools can harbour bacteria such as Legionella, and Legionella bacteria, when it can be inhaled in a breathable form of water, such as the aerosol that's given off by a spa pool, can lead to an increased risk of Legionnaire's disease. So, just to recap, relative pollution it's the amount of pollution going into a body of water relative to the amount of water that's there.